Happy February, everyone. Welcome to this month's Community Wise podcast. My name is Holly Long, and we have a treat this February. As you know, it is Black History Month, and we celebrate Black History Month 365 days a year, every day, because you know what? You're going to always be Black if you're Black, right? So, what better way to incorporate just some of our history, some of our where we are going right now in this world, with no better way to highlight our HBCU internship program. So here at LISC, we have a HBCU program where we have interns that come into our organization, and we teach them about community development. And what is community development? And so we would like to welcome Dr. Larry Robinson from Florida A&M University and to our podcast. He has a student that is a part of the LISC cohort for the HBCU internship program. So we're just going to have a small conversation with Dr. Robinson. Welcome.
Well, thank you, and happy Black History Month to you.
Same
Certainly,
to you.
we celebrate it every day at Florida A&M University.
That's right. That's right. So I don't know if you know this, but I'm an alum of Howard University. And
I'm so sorry for you.
don't you just love the HBCU love? I love it. But with that being said, you know, I can honestly say that going to a HBCU thoroughly prepared me for life. It made me realize that once I got on that plane from Kansas City, Missouri to Washington, D.C., I had to figure it out. Because my mom and dad were a plane ride away, and something had to be seriously wrong for them to get on a plane. So, with that being said, talk to us about FAMU and what do you guys have going on down there? I know we had a battle of the bands in November, and I know y'all won, but it's all good. But share a little bit about FAMU, if you don't mind, sir.
Well, thank you. This institution was founded on October the 3rd, 1887. It's the State Normal College for Colored Students, right? It's pretty amazing. However, that in that period, just a stone's throw from the Civil War and all that occurred there, here we are in Florida trying to start an institution for colored students. It's pretty amazing. We started with 2 instructors and 15 students, right? And what I'm most proud of those 15 students is that it was a co-ed environment. It's been a co-ed environment from the beginning to now, and it will continue in that way, I am sure. And so from 15 students to over 9,500 students today, and being the third oldest public institution in the state of Florida,
Mm-hmm.
University of Florida, Florida State, and then there's FAMU, and we are the only public HBCU in the state of Florida. And I admire all of the other 3 privates in the state, but we just happen to be the only public. So we started very humbly, as I said, with 15 students, and here we are today, the highest ranked public HBCU in the land. In fact, we are third overall in the HBCU rankings, with Spelman and Howard University ahead of us. But look, no matter how you cut this, that is, great company to be in. Every institution on that list, but in the top 10 or the top 102, all of them are making great contributions to this nation, to the students and the families who go to these institutions and to their communities. And so we're just proud to be part of that family. Then we also broke into the top 100 in terms of national public institutions as determined by U.S. News and World Reports this past year.
Mm-hmm.
We ranked number 91 overall in the thousands of institutions in that category. So you can imagine how proud we are to be ranked number 91. And perhaps the most important statistic to me in terms of metrics or ranking is that we ranked 21st in the nation of all national universities in terms of social mobility, which is a measure of where our students come, in terms of socioeconomic status, financial status,
Mm-hmm.
and how quickly we can get them out into the world of work to start productive careers. So we're really, really, really proud of that fact. We're transforming their lives today, just as we did on October the 3rd, 1887, for those 15 students when we began.
All right. Okay. Quick question for you. So, do you mind sharing with our guest some of the notable FAMU alums that have graced your halls that are making impactful changes in our world today?
Well, that's a long list, but I'll try to give you a short version of
Yeah.
it. Let me start with Will Packer.
Yes.
Will Packer is a hit movie mogul and producer.
Mm-hmm.
What you might be surprised by is that this billion-dollar producer came to FAMU as an engineering major. His first film was actually shown here on campus in the building that I'm sitting in today.
Wow.
And of course, Will was also the first African American to serve as producers of the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Will didn't have anything to do with it, but you all remember the slap that would go down in history. But anyway, Will is a graduate of this institution and a major donor as well, to the extent that we have named amphitheater after him because of his generosity. We have Kim Godwin, the president of ABC News,
Yes.
the highest ranking African American in broadcast news industry. She's a graduate of our School of Journalism and graphic communication.
Mm-hmm.
G. Scott Uzel,
Mm-hmm.
the general manager of Nike of North America, is a Rattler, graduate of our School of Business and Industry. John
Ooh.
Thompson, former chairman of the board of Microsoft.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? One of the largest companies in the world
Yes.
is a graduate of Florida A&M University.
Mm-hmm.
Congressman David
Yeah.
Scott from Atlanta, the first ever African American chairman of the U.S. House of Representatives Agriculture
Mm-hmm.
Committee. It's also a alum of this great institution. And then some contemporaries. Arturo
Mm-hmm.
Nunez, the chief marketing officer for Nubank,
Mm-hmm.
the world's largest independent digital bank, is a FAMU graduate. He was our homecoming convocation speaker. One of our, more recent athletes. Now we have some wonderful athletes who have played professional football and all other sports. We have the only graduate of any institution who's won both a gold medal as well as a inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. But we also had a recent inductee in 2023. So Bob Hayes was the
Mm-hmm.
first person that I was referring to. Y'all probably remember him, the fastest person in the world, played for the Dallas Cowboys. And it's ironic that this year, Marquise
Mm-hmm.
Bell, a recent graduate of FAMU, was the National Football League's first ever HBCU Spotlight Player of the Year and linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. So it's pretty amazing set of coincidentals. About a week ago, for our Black History Month conversation, as we call it,
Mm-hmm.
we have a panelist and we have a panel discussion. Our guest panelist this year was Jerry
Mm-hmm.
Lorenzo, the founder of the luxury fashion brand
Mm-hmm.
Fear of God Essentials, and Fear of God Athletics, right? And so I hope this gives you just a small
A
snapshot of some of
huge.
these outstanding brothers out there in the world. I know Howard has a lot more, but we had to start somewhere at FAMU.
It's all good. All HBCU love. And I asked that
Mhm.
question to kind of set the tone of the conversation that HBCUs truly prepare you for the world, for life in general. And so
Mhm.
um, this is the training ground. And, we have some conversations with some people who are like, I'd rather, go to a Division 12 or whatever the schools are, the big we call them PWIs, predominantly white institutions and things of that nature, versus going to a HBCU. I don't want to do that. I'm going to I have to learn how to deal with everyone in the world. So why do I have to go to a all black? And is it really all black? And I'm like, you have no idea.
and
Do
they don't have any
right.
idea. First and foremost, last year at Florida A&M University, we had a record number of students applying to the institution, over 22,000, for ultimately, where we only admitted, in terms of first time in college students, something
Mm.
between 15 and 1,600. So we go from that large number to that smaller number. And within that pool of applicants, there were representatives from every state in America. Currently at FAMU, we have students from 35 states and 70 countries. We have about 25% of our students are from somewhere other than
Mm-hmm.
Florida. We like to tell students coming to FAMU that you can see the world right here on our campus. And your student population, as well as our faculty and staff, they come from all over the world. And it's really a rich culture. And I think there's one big difference because I started at a small HBCU in Memphis,
Yeah.
Tennessee, Lemoore
Yeah.
College. And I was encouraged, not being first generation, coming from a single mother
Mm-hmm.
household, that I should transfer to the PWI across town, which at that time was Memphis State, because they had an American Chemical Society certified degree program in chemistry. And I always had this interest in research and going further than just a baccalaureate degree. Turns out that that wasn't really necessary, but I guess God set it up for me to see, both sides of this picture. In fact, three sides of this
Mm-hmm.
picture, because eventually I went on to graduate school at Washington University in St.
Mm-hmm.
Louis, pretty renowned private institution. So I've seen
Mm-hmm.
it all. And here's what's so special about FAMU and HBCUs in general. We expect our students to succeed, right? We and it's beyond just expecting them to succeed, because many of us have been out in the world and we know that without them in it, the world isn't just going to be
That's right.
right. So they have to be successful. And you can spend a lot of time in places. I can guarantee you that the 3 years I spent at Memphis State, now the University of Memphis, were quite
Mm-hmm.
different than what I experienced at Lemoore. At Lemoore, everybody was pushing me. You can be this, you can be that. The only problem I had is that they were trying to push me into medicine. That wasn't going to happen because I couldn't stand the sight of blood. But at the same time, they were just encouraging me, keep going. You're smart, you're brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the first thing that happened at Memphis State is that they questioned the grades that I received at Lemoore and had me auditing courses in the sciences that I had taken there my first semester, until somewhere during the semester, after a couple of exams and my test scores start coming back, perhaps higher than the native student
Mm-hmm.
population, which was predominantly white, certainly in chemistry. And they said that's enough, right? But I was met with a totally different, you know, perspective, from a totally different perspective. And that is, you have to prove to us that you
Mm-hmm.
can, right? And that's different. Just imagine the amount of mental stress that that causes on a student. If you don't get through college first, you don't get to do anything else later, right? That builds upon that. So I commend the families who send their kids to these other fine institutions, and there's some really fine ones out there. Our secret sauce, however, is that we believe, our faculty believes, in the potential of each and every student who crosses the threshold here, and we do everything that we can, not only to help them succeed in the classroom, but to help them have these real world experiences like the one that you're having through your internship,
Mm-hmm.
program, that really gets them ready for the world. Our motto is excellence with
Mm-hmm.
caring. And what that means is, we expect you to be great, a great student. But if you finish and go somewhere and sit in a room and just count your money, that's not adequate. We want you to commit to community service, give back to those who gave to you, in order for you to be successful as a graduate of this institution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I I'll say this. LISC is a financial CDFI, so community development financial institution, and our headquarters is in New York. And so we have some gracious funders. Citi Foundation is the one who's actually the sponsor of our HBCU program. And so these students who apply, they go through the, job application just like everybody else who's applied to LISC, and they get hired. They have assignments. I know right now, LISC Greater Kansas City, where I'm from, we have an intern from Howard actually, and then I know a couple of other offices have a couple from FAMU, and actually we're going to talk to one of your students a little later after, when you leave. She's going to come on, but because of Citi Foundation, we are able to pay these students. And so I remember, so I graduated from Howard in 2007. So from 2003 to 2007, I worked on Capitol Hill for free. um, and man, if I would have known of different, and I'll take that back, not entirely for free. The first 2 years, definitely. But then, you got an internship stipend, a little small things, right? But there are some students who cannot afford to work for free. And
Exactly.
so, talk to us about that nurturing that HBCUs give you, but yet, okay, there's other avenues to success, and we will put you in the place to find those. If you don't mind.
Yeah, let's talk about not being able to afford to work and not get paid. No, we have, and HBCUs in general have significant portions of our student population who are Pell Grant eligible, meaning that their household incomes aren't the highest in the nation by any measure. Around 55%, every other student you encounter on this campus is a Pell Grant recipient. And so for them to be successful, what we've seen, one of the major obstacles isn't their brilliance, right? Isn't their drive and their grit, is that they run into these financial challenges somewhere along the way, right? And it's because of our ability to get them, internships, scholarships, etc., that helps them to continue to progress at this institution. The average household income for students at FAMU, this is incredible in 2024, there's $50,000 or so. Can you imagine if you put two students in a household, you're almost at the poverty level. But at the same time, we do everything that we can to support our students. These financial challenges, one of the biggest. We have world-class academic programs. We have all of these sophisticated tools in terms of technology and research and so forth. But we have to go that extra mile in finding resources to support them on their journeys, because they can't make a call home and say, Mom or Dad, can you send me $500 this month, right? And so we have to, in a sense, become their surrogate parents. And that's something we're really proud to be able to do, because we think that connects them with the university even more. So that's a major problem for our students. And so having these real world opportunities helps to alleviate some of that, having paid
Yeah.
internships.
And so, Citi Foundation, we thank you so much for looking into our future and the future of community development. And it's funny because not a lot of people knew, well, at least when I was in college, I never heard of community development. I just, you know, it just was what it was. And so now we're trying to get more that pipeline of HBCU students into community development, into LISC and other CDFIs and things of that nature. So that way the movers and the shakers that you're producing can come into this world and set it off, and represent for all the HBCUs. And so in a little bit, we're going to bring on one of our current interns. And so, Dr. Robinson, we thank you so much for your time. We know you are a busy man. Any closing remarks you want to share with the people?
Well, I just want to thank you for allowing me to say a few words about FAMU, but more importantly, about the community of HBCUs as a whole and the great work that we do to support this nation. And I've always said, when people question, the value of HBCUs, the real question is, where would we be as a nation without them. Certainly in the state of Florida, Florida A&M University, along with our other three privates who are much smaller, but at the same time very effective, contributed to the evolution of the black middle class in this state. And I think you can talk about institutions like Howard and others who have made those same type of impacts over their history as well. Where would we be without the nation's
Mm-hmm.
HBCUs?
That's it. That's it. Dr. Robinson, it's been a pleasure to meet you.
Same here.
All right, part two of Community Wise um, Black History Special. Welcome back. My name is Holly Long again. And the first part of our podcast, we got a chance to talk to the president of Florida A&M University, Dr. Larry Robinson, and he shared some notable FAMU alums, why is it important to support our HBCUs, and how that even goes into Black history, because a lot of our HBCU students and alums are literally Black history, walking Black history. And so we shouted out our funder, Citi Foundation, for partnering with LISC to create the HBCU internship. And we have a product of the LISC HBCU internship, and her name is Alexia. Hey, Alexia.
Hey, how are you?
It is nice to see you. And Alexia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, greetings. I'm Alexia Kitchen, a fourth year business administration scholar hailing from the good life city of Albany, Georgia. And yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
And what school do you currently go to?
Oh, I go to Florida A&M University, the
And,
School of Business and Industry.
and when do you graduate?
I graduate in December of
Okay.
2024, so this year.
Woo, it's coming up. So tell us a little bit about your internship here at LISC and coming into the community development space. What are your thoughts? What are you feeling? Anything.
So I feel like LISC is literally great. I love interning here at LISC. It has been one of the best internships that I have ever had. Interning here, I not only feel as a intern, but I feel like I work here full time because they make me feel comfortable in my projects. Any work that I desire to do outside of my projects, they express it to me, and anything that I have questions about with my managers, with the president of the lending team, they always express it to me as if it's okay to ask as many questions that I have or anything that I would like to do. They're very flexible as well, being that I am a senior and I have a lot of classes as well as interning here. The hours are very flexible. If sometimes I may have to not meet with other HBCU students or even with my manager, they let it know that it's okay and they'll set up a recording for me to catch up. So I love it here. I feel like everyone, if they can, should intern with LISC.
Okay. So what made you apply?
I actually got a recommendation from my cousin. His name is Tobias, and he was a intern here as well. And he expressed his experience with me, his thoughts with me about how great the internship is, and I just took that opportunity and ran with it.
Okay. So what do you see yourself doing after graduation?
After graduation, I plan on having a full-time job with either commercial or real estate in that field. I do want to become a realtor. And with that, let's have providing me with skills such as Excel projects and project management projects and marketing projects to better me for my future.
Okay. So, okay, let's go back a little bit. Why did you just decide to go to FAMU?
I decided to go to, honestly, FAMU has been a dream college of mine since I was a little girl. I saw how everyone is included with FAMU, as we would call us. Like, everyone plays a role, I feel, as you. And from the outside looking in, I didn't know how big that role was going to be until I actually got inside of FAMU. And it's one of the best decisions I have ever made.
Okay. So, tell me this.
Mhm.
Did you ever since FAMU was one of your dream colleges, which because you didn't mention Howard, I'm not going to hold that against you. I am a Howard grad alum for sure. Student loans
Mhm.
are paid off. Thank you, Jesus. Finally.
Amen.
Right. That'll make you shout right now. Because
Right.
HBCUs are, some of them are a little more expensive than necessarily
Mhm.
going to a in-state college. So,
Right.
did you ever think or contemplate going to a PWI?
No, even when I get my master's degree, it's nothing against PWIs, but me
Of course.
personally, I always wanted to surround myself with my culture. I don't know. It's nothing like being around your people, connecting with your people, networking your people. I feel like the HBCU make you feel more included because I do
Mm-hmm.
have friends that attend PWI and I hear their experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But HBCUs make you feel like they're your family. It's nothing like a HBCU experience. So I never did, never will. Sorry.
All right. That's what's up. Well, anything that you want to highlight about your internship or so I was talking to Dr. Robinson about this, how
Mhm.
HBCUs prepare you for life, and that
Right.
most of the top leaderships that you see in all of these corporations or anywhere, they typically come from a
Mhm.
historically Black college or university. Do you want to share how FAMU and your life at FAMU has prepared you to enter the corporate world, and how it's prepared you to help or to intern with LISC and going forward? Any kind of correlation there for
Yes.
you?
Yes. I have a couple things to say. So coming into FAMU and a business major, I didn't understand FAMU's SBI program when I first came in. So I thought I was just going to be taking business class, graduate, and then it's over. However, we as SBIans have to dress up in business professional attire on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And at first I was like, why? But now I totally understand because it's like it will be second nature to us when we get into that corporate world. So it wouldn't be nothing new to us. We would already be
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with doing that. As well as this is how I got an intern as well because in order to graduate from FAMU in the School of Business and Industry, you have to have a minimum of 1 to 2 interns, depending on if you come in with the AA degree or not.
Mm-hmm.
But a minimum of one, and that really set us aside from our competition in corporate world
Mm-hmm.
because most companies look for the degree and the experience, and FAMU is pushing us out there to get that experience that we will need into the corporate world, as well as our soft skills, utilizing our soft skills in classrooms as well as in our internships, and they really exercise how important it is to network with our peers, with our internship leaders, as well as with our professors. So FAMU is literally the reason why I got this internship now, as well as my past interns, because it made me more comfortable to speak, to present, to speak highly of myself, and to connect with others.
All right. All right. Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat real quick. Hold on. So, in that same vein,
Mhm.
I will say this: going to a HBCU, having internships, coming into the corporate world, we were always taught, and I know you kind of mentioned this just a minute ago, you have to distinguish yourself. And because of that, you are already distinguished of how you come, because you know
Right.
how to dress, you know what not to say, what not to do. You know how to respond to certain emails, you know how not to respond to certain
Mhm.
emails. And it's just certain things that are invaluable experiences that you learn because of going to a historically Black college and university. And it's not only that, it's the pride of it. And so, um, which is easy for us as sitting here talking about community development and your internship.
Mhm.
Like, you can, I talked to you yesterday, say, hey, you want to do this interview, and you said yes. And you know, I told you, don't worry about it, you will be fine. And I knew you would be fine because what? The pedigree that you have at FAMU and what is expected of all HBCU students. And so, Alexia, we are proud of you. We want you to continue going, and we cannot wait to see what you're going to do after graduation and beyond. And thank you so much for thinking so much of LISC. I know it's been a mutually beneficial relationship, but truly thank you for coming to work with us in this community development space, because we need more people like you, like me, who look like us to help really push forward the work in this field. So, Alexia, you're a rock star, girlfriend. Any closing
Thank
remarks?
you so much, Miss Kelly. I just want to thank you for speaking so highly of me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to express my experience with both my HBCU as well as interning here at LISC. And I love LISC, and I will love to see more people like us in this field taking the same opportunity that I have and using it to the fullest, because it's a very, very great opportunity.
All right. Well, wraps this up, this episode of Community Wise Podcast. I'm Holly Long. We really want to thank, truly, Citi Foundation for the foresight to combine and to work with LISC to create this program. We are really, truly, truly changing the shape of community development for here until whenever. But we thank you for your partnership. We thank you for what the future looks like for our world. And if it looks like Alexia and other students who I know who are in HBCU students right now, we're in good hands. So that's it. Happy Black History Month.